Welcome to our first pieced baby quilt project. This is suitable for a little baby doll, just something small. Our increment is going to be a 2-inch pre-cut cotton square. And rather than just sewing it together, you can see here in this little sample, the edges aren't perfectly lined up. I have this nifty trick I use, a notion called fusible interfacing with a pre-marked 1-inch grid. One side is bumpy, the other is smooth. On your work surface, which in this case is an ironing board or a towel, heat safe, go ahead and place that grid bumpy side up and start positioning your quilting squares on the grid line so that you can cover the whole surface with your tiles of fabric and be true to where the grid point needs to have them line up. So then, after you have it all established how you like it, put a pressing cloth on the surface to prevent the iron from sticking as you'll be working on high and pressing down to then bond the fabric to that fusible grid. It's really terrific because it holds it in place, and so now you're ready for the sewing stage. It looks like it's together, but you can see that it's just held in place. The next stage is we're going to fold it so that we can see where that 1/4-inch seam line needs to be. And you can do this by machine or hand stitch if you don't happen to have a machine handy. And the trick is that you go ahead and sew in one direction. Here I am kind of going up the north end, and then before I can do the other direction instead of the east-west direction, I need to do a little bit of clipping of that seam. This is an important little step so that it lays flat. You can see that I don't want to break those seams, the stitch line. We just want to clip it so that it folds flatter. That's an important little step. Anyway, go ahead and sew that up, and after you do that, we then will place our backing fabric pretty side up and our finished work pretty side down so that the right sides are together. And then we go ahead and we're just going to be stitching around 1/4 inch around and having them attached, but you want to leave a gap of like 2 inches so that there's a space to turn it after you're finished, so that it then starts to look something like this when you're finished. And it's a good idea to go ahead and gently poke the square corners out a little bit so that they're nice at right angle, gently poking, not with anything too sharp, maybe a blunt pencil with a broken tip, something like that might work. And then all you have to do is push those little unfinished bits down so that it's an even finish, and you can hand stitch that last little bit shut. But I do recommend pressing it all together at the end so that it has a nicer finished appeal, nice and flat, for your first successful baby doll quilt project. May you enjoy that, and feel free to add more and keep growing those stitches.